Yeah, it's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. In the love with the...
And we're live. What's up, y'all? How you guys doing? Hope you're having an absolutely amazing Tuesday evening as we record this. If you are new to Pre-PT Grind, my name is 𝙬𝙧𝙚-𝙧𝙚. I am a physical therapist. I am also a PT school acceptance coach and one of the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind. And what this platform is meant for is to help you get into physical therapy school without having to waste a lot of time, money, and energy just guessing and trying a whole bunch of stuff like most students do. And so if you are somewhat interested in physical therapy or you're drawn to PT whatsoever, and you are not yet a physical therapist, you are on the right page. So welcome. Just delve into everything. We got a lot of content for you. But tonight you're actually tuning into my favorite series. This has become my favorite series. We call it the Pre-PT Inspire series. And the reason is because we're bringing in students that were pre-PTs because they've recently gotten accepted into PT school, who are coming in here. They have all been students that we have coached inside of our accepted system coaching program to help them get into PT school. And they're going to share their stories. This is episode, I believe, 47. And we have plenty more coming. So there are 46 other stories prior to this one. And this one is no different. This is going to be absolutely inspirational because what you're going to hear is the real story. I think a lot of times when we see someone get accepted into PT school, they say stuff like, yeah, I got in, you can do it too, which is nice. And it's true. But what I want you guys to hear is the real story. Like, what were the moments? Like, why was I even doing physical therapy in the first place? What were the moments where I felt like I doubted myself, and why? And how did I navigate through those? Like, you'll hear how these students came up from those low moments that we all have. We are human beings, right? And hopefully in one of these stories, you will see yourself. That is a goal. Like, hopefully you will see yourself somewhere in here and you'll say, wow, if that student can do it, if Alex could do it, then shoot, maybe I can be a physical therapist too. Maybe when I'm doubting myself, even if I'm at a low point because of my grades or whatever, maybe I can do it too. And so if that is something you're interested in, you're in the right place. Super excited. Tonight's episode is going to be a lot of fun. Alex, how you feeling, brother?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Joseph. Appreciate it.
And thank you for being willing to be here. Let me just make sure we're good. Yeah, we are 100% live. For those of y'all that are joining us live right now, tag your friends, tag other pre-PTs that you know will value this training tonight in this series. Let me just make sure we are good. We should be good. I also got to make sure that students are actually able to see the actual video. So I love it. And for those of y'all joining us on podcast, thank you for joining us here as well, because this will be a podcast episode. But let's dive in, my friend. All right, so let's start from the top. Before we get to the part of your story that everybody likes to listen to, which is the second question, the one about your struggles and obstacles. Tell us what drew you into physical therapy, and your story is a little unique, which I think is amazing. How did you even discover that PT was what you wanted to do? Tell us about that, and then we'll dive into your acceptance story.
So it kind of started like when I was born, put it simply. So I was born with bilateral club feet. If you don't know what that is, the best comparison I have is, have you ever seen the show Rugrats? Tommy Pickles with his feet are kind of like in a little bit. If you see a picture, you would know what it is. So I had surgery when I was like 6 months old and in second grade. So pretty much ever since I was born, I've been doing physical therapy. So yeah.
So you've been in this space for a long time. Go on.
Yeah. So I knew I couldn't do a desk job from like being in high school. I knew I had to be active or doing something with my hands or something that on my feet, something that I have a passion for, not just to do my 9 to 5, go home, live life. I couldn't do that. That was not my vision at all. So so I knew I wanted to get into fitness. I love fitness. I used to do CrossFit. I used to work out with my friends. I used to do all that stuff. And when I realized I can do it as a career, I was like, yep, this is my choice. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. So you were baptized into the profession basically from childbirth, because because of because of being born with bilateral club feet, right? Is what?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So you were in PT for a long time. How many years were you in physical therapy, by the way?
I don't remember exactly. I never got like a set time, but from when I was born until like I still do the exercises to this day. I was doing physical therapy exercises almost every day and every morning and night. Yeah, and I was wearing.
Wow.
I used to wear like these booties at night, every single night, so just to make sure my feet were aligned. So, so my parents always instilled to me like, when you have the opportunity to run or be active, take it in stride and go for it, no matter what.
Yo, that's amazing. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's like its own live stream, because I would love to just dive into that story, man. So maybe we'll bring you on another time and just talk about that experience. But but that was part of what drew you into this profession. I think I mean, you're going to make an amazing physical therapist for sure. But let's dive into now. You're like, hey, I've wanted to be a physical therapist. I've been exposed to PT since I was born, right? But now comes the hard work. Now comes actually figuring out how to get accepted into PT school, how to make this thing actually work for me, because I fall in love with it as a kid up until now as an adult. Like, I fall in love with physical therapy, but now I got to make sure that I get accepted. So for you, on your journey now as a pre-PT, what were your biggest obstacles prior to getting your acceptance letter? Because for the people joining us right now, we are interviewing Alex because he has gotten into PT school, but we want to hear a little bit about what your challenges and obstacles were prior to getting that acceptance letter. So what were those?
So my biggest two, I'd say, like, objectively, like stats wise and like things that you need to meet, like criteria to get in, was definitely my GRE and observation hours. I've been an aide for the past 2.5 years at outpatient orthopedic clinic, but that's the only experience I've ever been exposed to. And going in, I was like, I knew I had to get some inpatient hours at the hospital, but unfortunately it was very bad timing with COVID and all. As soon as I was about to go get some hours, everything just shut down. So I was like, in the air, I was like, that really threw me up for a loop, because some schools on the PT-CAS website were not like specifying that they would take less hours. They were still put like, no, you need these hours, you need these set hours. So that kind of threw me out for a loop for sure. And then also my GRE score. I was never good at standardized tests at all. But when I joined the acceptance system, I did the GRE code. If I didn't have that GRE code, I would not be on this live stream right now. That is for sure. Because the school that I got accepted into, I only met the minimum scores. And I would have never even came close to those minimum scores if I did the studying, like, without any assistance at all.
Wow. So GRE, which is a big one for a lot of us. Of course, having struggles. You also talked about like self-doubt as well prior to this. So like where did that play into your journey as a pre-PT?
So I took my GRE this summer, like I think it was like mid-July. I had a plan to take my GRE in July and then put my applications in at the end of August. But I also had a little misstep. For some reason, my undergrad school had my anatomy credits, three credits each class. And every single school on PT-CAS says you need 4 credit anatomy classes. And I would start emailing the schools and they were like, nope, can't do 3 credit anatomy classes. So that really threw me up for a loop too, because every single school I wanted to go to needed those 4 credits each. I even had my professor write a letter saying like, he's good, like these classes satisfy the requirements, but fortunately that didn't help at all. So as this was going on, I started doubting myself. I was like, this ain't gonna happen. This isn't gonna happen. I have to go find these schools that are not schools I wanted to go to. Maybe the program that I really wanted to go to were ones that were better fit for me, but kind of didn't have much of a choice. So that really made me doubt a lot of things. For sure.
Yeah, man. So self-doubt is such a big part. For those of y'all watching live, can y'all say me if at any point in your journey as a pre-PT you've had doubt? Just like doubt in yourself, doubt in maybe your selection of schools, maybe doubt in kind of like what Alex was saying, your ability to meet the scores you need for the GRE, because a lot of us struggle with standardized exams, doubt with classes I'm retaking. Am I going to retake them and they don't give me the score that I need, right? You know, because the first time I didn't do well on it. So how do y'all have felt that? Because I mean, I sure did as a pre-PT,
Yeah.
obviously. Alex, you felt that as well.
Yeah.
And that's common, right? You know, it's not something we enjoy, right? We don't like feeling
Yeah.
that lack of doubt. So for you, how did you deal with that before we dive into the next question?
So I just want to, before it, also self-doubt. Before I get into that question, I put all my applications in before November, and I got confirmation from 2 schools I would hear before, like right before Christmas time. I didn't hear from them, and I didn't hear from them until like mid-January. And I Foxered you and Casey. I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do because I was like 3 weeks after they told me I was going to get accepted. I was like, or get a letter. I was like, what's happening? Yeah. So, sorry, what was your question again? I wanted to say that first.
No, my question was, how did you navigate that doubt, right? Because we all feel it, right? So we all feel that doubt, whatever that looks like for us as pre-PTs, we feel it, right? And what happens is, if I have doubt, then I start to panic, which you kind of did a little bit, right? So we panic, we second guess our ability to get into PT school. We start listening to people that might be suggesting other paths. You know, for some students, they even get plan B options that they think that, you know, that they consider. And so for you, like, how did you deal with your doubt? Like, how did you navigate those moments where you really doubted yourself as a pre-PT?
Yeah, so when I was waiting for an acceptance or schools to get back to me, I was just constantly refreshing my email, constantly refreshing. I eventually took off the email app off my phone to get that. That was one step. It's one step. But honestly, at that point, it was kind of like out of my control. So that was one of the lessons that you guys taught me very well, is don't stress about things you can't control. You already put in the work. So what are you stressing about? It's nothing. You can't do anything about the situation anymore. So just kind of just have to relax and honestly get distracted. Forget about it. That's what I did. I kind of just try to like not think about it anymore until like one day I got a surprise email. That's what I was thinking.
That's so important to remember. You know, one, so you said 2 points in there. One, you said that you removed the app, right? So for a lot of us as pre-PTs, whatever is causing that doubt, it might not be a bad idea to get rid of it, right?
Because honestly,
so
when you see it, you think about it. If you're not seeing it, you're not going to think about it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it might be an app, you know, it might be certain people. I mean, let's be real, right? So can I filter that out so that I'm not constantly going through that process of doubting myself over and over again? And then, of course, what you said about control, like being able to control what I have the ability to control, and what I can't control, don't even try. I mean, don't overwhelm yourself, because it's just you're getting overwhelmed for no reason. So I love that. Anything else to add to that before I go to the next question?
I think that's okay. I'll probably hit on points later in other questions too. They're similar.
Perfect. I love it. Let's go to the next one. So for you, obviously you worked with the accepted system, so our coaching program. What led you to look for guidance? Like, as a pre-PT, you know, you already told us that you've basically been a pre-PT for life, right? You've been you've wanted to be a physical therapist since you were a kid because of your diagnosis. So now on your journey, what led you to say, hey, like, I need help. Like, I need somebody that can help me walk through these parts, including the GRE, which was a big part for you, right? So what led you to look for, what ultimately led you to us?
I was feeling very overwhelmed, like around like the May time, because I knew PT Cast was opening like in July, and I hadn't started at all. I was like starting from scratch, basically. I didn't know where to start. So I was kind of looking on the internet, like little guidance, like what to start first, what to look for, blah, blah. And then I came across a YouTube video, and it was like the number one source for you to get help, and it was you guys. And I was like, oh, I'll go take a look. And I was reading through, and through the videos and the testimonials, I was sold. So
well, man, we were glad to have you. we were glad to have you. So you found us online, you were looking for guidance, you ended up joining the accepted system, and then now you were in it. How did it help you, right? Because I know a lot of students listening to this right now are not in the accepted system, right? So like, how did it actually help you specifically with those big hurdles and big problems that you had that you felt were holding you back as a pre-PT? How did it help you navigate those to ultimately lead you to where you are today as an accepted student?
I think the biggest thing, first thing that comes to mind is that it held me accountable. Like I would get Facebook notifications, people like in the accepted group, and it would always constantly remind me like, you gotta keep working, gotta keep working, gotta keep going at it. And then you guys live streams all the time, all your videos, the course, it just helped me lock in and know exactly what I needed to do. And I didn't, if I would know, my application would have been even near where it was with you guys. That's how I speak the world about you guys.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate the love. I appreciate it. For those of y'all that are watching this right now, like if you feel stuck, like it's okay to feel stuck. It's okay to not know what in the world you're doing as a pre-PT. Many of us didn't know, right? And so if you're like, hey, I'm at a point right now as a pre-PT, Joseph, Alex, that I just like where I just need some next step. I need some clarity on what I should even be focusing on. How does this thing work? How do I even become this candidate, this strong PT school applicant? Go to the link that we have below. It's acceptancenavigator.com. It's a free video series that we created for you to make that very clear. And go through it. It shouldn't take long. You can go through it tonight. Just click the button below, go access it. And as you're going through it, start to learn the key pieces that Alex and all these other students that you've been hearing that have gotten into PT school, like what they did differently, because all the problems and obstacles that we face are, I mean, we're human. So we all experience them in some way, shape, or form. So if you're looking for some clarity and direction, that is the best place to start. It's free, obviously. So if you're really looking for direction, it's like, it's a win-win. So go to that link after this is done, or you could even, after this is done, let's, then, and then if you have questions after that, feel free to hit us up. But Alex, let's go into your acceptance. So obviously you had a lot of moments of doubt when you were waiting for your acceptance letter.
Yeah.
I guess Casey and I got a few messages from you to kind of like navigate through, because it's stressful. Like the moment you submit your application, you're just like, all right,
like,
so
now what? It's like those applications were like every single minute of my life, basically, for like 4 months. And then once it's done, it's like, now what?
Every morning you wake up, you're just looking at your phone and you're like, like what's going on, man? Like, why are they waiting so long? Why haven't they told me something? And so for you, after going through all of that, tell us about the day that you got accepted into PT school, because you just told us, one, like why you wanted to be a physical therapist. Two, you told us what your big obstacles were and what your source of guidance was on your way to ultimately getting accepted. But even yet, there were still moments of like doubt that you were, that you were sharing with us. So when you finally got accepted into PT school, like share that day with us so that we can kind of like hear what your thoughts were, what your experience was like, because that's the day that every single person listening to this right now is waiting for. And I want them to kind of live vicariously through you, but I also want them to see what it looks like on the other side of working your tail off and constantly pursuing this dream without giving up on it. So what was that acceptance day like? Tell us, how'd you find out? What were your thoughts? Who'd you tell first? Talk to us about it.
So it was honestly just it was just a relief, because I didn't really feel, it's weird. Whenever we work so hard for something and you think you're going to celebrate, really like you're going to be excited, it's just more of like just a weight off your shoulders. It just one of the greatest feelings ever, when you have all that pressure on you and all of a sudden by a flick of a coin, it's gone. Yeah. So, but the school that I got accepted to originally waitlisted me back in November. And then the day before I got accepted, my top choice school waitlisted me too. So I was kind of down in the dumps before I got that email. And I re-downloaded the email app, by the way, eventually. So I was on my way to work. I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. I was like, I'll check when I get there, when I get to work. I'm sitting in the car. I had a few minutes before I could go upstairs, and I didn't check my email. My alerts were like this. When it pops up on the screen, I didn't have that on, but I had the app again. I was just looking through it. I realized I had another number on my email, and I checked it up, and I was like, I refreshed and I saw the school name. I was like, that's weird. It just emailed me. And I refreshed again and I clicked on it and it said, congratulations. I was like, no, it's a lie. It was like, I couldn't even believe it. So I was like smiling all the way upstairs, walking up to work, but had a mask on, so no one really saw. So I walked in and I was like, I have some news to my coworkers, and only a few of them were there that day. And I was like, so I just got an email on my way upstairs, and I got accepted. And they all immediately hugged me, which was great. So they were the first ones to know. My coworkers were the first ones to know. I didn't tell my parents and my family until that night because I wanted to tell them in person rather than texting them or calling them.
Oh, wow, wow,
Mhm.
wow. Relief is what you said, right?
Yeah.
Relief was what you
Mhm.
felt, right? After all
Yeah.
that, it's almost like you've been holding your breath for so long, and you're like,
Yeah.
I can finally breathe. I can actually look at my
Exactly.
app now without
Mhm.
panicking, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was cool that you actually had people there physically to celebrate
Yeah,
with,
exactly.
as in your
Mhm.
coworkers, right? Because it
Yeah.
just gives you, it's just amazing, right? Because they've
Yeah.
seen how hard you've been working at it. They've probably been hearing your stories about how
Oh yeah,
stressed you've
they've been through
been,
the
and
whole class with me because
you
my
got it.
yeah, my major in undergrad was a little strange. I didn't have to take physics or chemistry, so these past 2 years I was working as an aide, I've been taking those classes, and they just see my up and downs all the time. So they've been pretty much going through with me every single day for the past 2 years. So
Oh,
pretty
I love it.
yeah.
Before we go to the last question, Casey just said this. He says other pre-PTs may want to know what happened with the 3-credit A&P classes. Did you have to retake, or did the schools eventually accept them?
So the school that I got accepted to was like one of the 2 schools that I found that took any kind of credits as long as you had that class and a lab
Hmm.
with the class.
Yep.
So pretty much all the schools that I reached out to saying I had the 3-credit classes, but you need the 4, all said, no, it's not acceptable. Like you need the 4-credit classes, which in my mind is very annoying because
Very.
just because it's an extra credit doesn't mean I didn't put in the work. Like those classes, honestly, I don't know. My anatomy and physiology classes were the toughest classes I ever taken in my life. And I took like several grad classes after that, and they were a piece of cake compared to the anatomy class. Yeah, so it was pretty crazy.
So you ended up
Yeah.
finding, so what's thing is you
So
found
I literally,
schools that still accepted it.
yeah, so I literally one day I took off like doing essays, whatever. I literally went through every single school on PTCast. It's like 270 something schools to check if I had the credits. And it came out to be like 8 schools, which was crazy. So
If y'all want the 8 schools, y'all might want to reach out to Alex
yeah.
after this.
Yeah.
Y'all might want to send him a message
Mhm.
if
So
you've been struggling with that. But go on.
so just to set myself to make sure I didn't screw myself up for the next cycle, just in case I didn't get accepted, I did take Anatomy 1 this past fall at my local community college, which was 4 credits, which was acceptable, which I got a higher grade in, which helped me, definitely helped me probably get accepted, which was probably a good
Yeah.
thing to do. So yeah, definitely check your credits and this with this school before you do him, because if I didn't check up on that, I would have been screwed.
Got it.
No, that's it.
Yeah, there's things that you don't think about either, because
Yeah,
when you're applying, you're thinking, I've already taken anatomy and physiology. I'm good. Like,
exactly.
boom.
Yeah.
And then
I
you
don't even
apply
know.
and you're,
I don't even know what made me think about it. It just popped in my head one day.
let me just double check them.
Yeah.
Let me just double check all my credits to make sure they
Yep.
match up. And
Mhm.
and boom, just like that. Wow. Wow. So there's your answer, y'all. For those of you guys that wanted to find out, how he navigated through that. But let's go to the final question. What's your advice? So after everything you've experienced, after having to deal with the schools telling you that if you didn't have 4 credits for AMP, it wouldn't work out. Obviously, dealing with the GRE, dealing with self-doubt and all the different layers that you just shared with us.
Yeah.
What, like, if you could talk to that version of yourself again, the guy that was still freaking out and
Mhm.
panicking and Voxer and Casey and Joseph and say, hey man, I don't know I don't know what's going on, right? Like what would you tell him, right? Because somebody listening to this right now is at that stage where they're basically kind of overwhelmed and second guessing themselves and unsure and all that panic and rechecking their app, and maybe they're waiting for the school to get back to them, or maybe they're getting ready to apply this cycle and they would love to hear what you would have to say to them after everything you've experienced. So what would be your words of wisdom or advice?
I definitely have a few things here. I said it before. Don't stress about things you can't control. Like I beat that home because once you let that go, things start become a little easier, and you start seeing things a little bit more clear. That's for sure. You start saying more focus on the things that you can do rather than what you can't. Second one is just relax and just enjoy the process going through it, because honestly, from what I've heard from a couple of friends who are in PT school right now, the application process might be worse than actual PT school. PT school is hard, but the application process might be the most difficult process you go through in the PT school journey. And I think that's it. Trust the process. That's it. Yep. And stay calm, stay focused, and always take mental breaks too. Because I remember, I forget, maybe it was a live stream. Maybe it was like the acceptance system, like when we were doing like every week, once a week, like, don't do this 7 days a week. You need your time off, because if you don't take time off, it's gonna make it worse. So find a few days where throughout the week where you plan it out, like, all right, I'm not gonna do anything Wednesday, I'm just gonna relax Wednesday. Weekends, nothing on the weekends, only during the week. I can't stress that enough, because once you take a few breaks, you realize what's important and what's not.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Everything that Alex has just said, if you guys are like, watch the replay to this afterwards and re-listen to that part again, because he just told you guys how it really works. And I think we overcomplicate it sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Being a pre-PT in this journey is hard. Obviously, that's why stuff like this exists, because it is tough. Like,
and it's easy for me to say this now because I've been accepted, but that's looking back on it. It's definitely, it's like, it's the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth. And so don't overcomplicate it, y'all. Listen to everything Alex said. And if you are looking for your next step and you're like, what should I be doing next? How can I really, really make sure that I'm a strong candidate by the time I apply? Go to acceptancenavigator.com, y'all. It's a free training. We make sure you're well taken care of. So go there if you have not already watched the training. Take some notes and ask yourself, how does this apply to me? But most importantly, Alex, I just want to say thank you on behalf of all the students that are watching this live and all the students that are going to watch and listen to this on replay, for taking time out of your evening and sharing your experience, just being real, man. This is how it's supposed to be. Just real conversation about how this thing really looks and works, and what stresses we had and whatnot. But also, more importantly, welcome to the profession. Can't wait to celebrate with you in a few years when you're finally a DPT. So for those of y'all that are live, show Alex some love. Heart it up, comment it up, whatever you guys need to do. Anything else, Alex, before we wrap this up?
I think the last thing I want to say is just thank you to you and Casey and everyone in the acceptance system. I would not be on this stream right now if it wasn't for the acceptance system. I really mean that.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Like in the middle of the night thinking about things and messaging you on Voxer, whenever, it's like you would always get back to me in a couple of days. Like, I couldn't ask for more. I appreciate it a lot.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being willing to trust yourself too, and just bet on yourself and keep pushing even when it didn't feel comfortable, or even when it didn't feel like it was possible, right? So I'm just super proud of you, and I'm humbled to have us, Casey, and our team be a part of your journey, man. And I can't wait to see what life has in store for you. That's it, y'all. You guys have an amazing rest of your evening. Hey guys, for those of y'all that are live right now, every single Tuesday night, unless we tell you otherwise, we have new students coming on right here for the Pre-PT Inspire series. We do this on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Block it off. So next week we have another interview every single week, because we want to this year, we want you guys to shift how you think about your application. Everything that you feel is holding you back, we want to just show you real stories, because I think that's the best way to learn. And be like, oh my goodness, like all these people did it. Okay, like maybe I can do it too. And so these are real students that have had real struggles. And so we just want to inspire you to keep moving towards your dream of becoming a physical therapist. So be here every single Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Thursday nights, Casey and I go live at 9 p.m. Eastern time inside of our Pre-Doctor Physical Therapy Students page on Facebook. So we'll see you there. Y'all have a blessed one. Much love. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye.